We're going to talk about knowing your rights and responsibilities as an investor. I wonder how many times you would have taken a step back before you invested to ask yourself, what is my responsibility? And what are my rights? Really, so we're going to talk about shareholder and investor rights legislations. In Singapore, as you know, we have a British background, a common law background. We borrowed in the beginning some from England and certain parts of the Commonwealth. But Singapore has come up with its own legislations, laws, to suit your needs, to protect your rights. So we have quite a number of these legislations, laws. To begin with, Companies Act. Singapore registered companies are governed by whether it's a sole proprietorship, partnership, private limited, or listed companies. This has to be governed by, has come under Companies Act. SGX listing rules. The issuers of listed companies have to follow listing rules. And then we have, this is not a law, but it's a set of recommendations which has got great force in that shareholders and investors do look at the governance of a company. They look at how they follow the corporate governance code, which has got many of the OECD standards, international standards. Then you have the Singapore Takeover Code, Securities and Futures Act. So shareholders and investors' rights are contained in various aspects of these laws, rules and articles of association, the company's constitution. I'm not going to take you through all these laws, which will be quite boring for you. We will leave it to the boards and lawyers and senior managers to look at that. But what I want to do is to bring it to your attention that in Singapore, you're well protected. So before you invest, please make sure that you're dealing with, regulated entities. Mr. Ong has touched on this, and MAS has spent a lot of time, and after research, they have come up with quite a number of things together with SGX. You check if the organization and persons are registered with MAS first, all right? So you go to the financial institutions directory for the organization at this website, all right? And then you also look at the register of representatives for the individual at the website shown on the screen. Check if the organization is on the investors alert list, all right? So when investing, you need to take certain responsibilities. So when you buy a TV or a car, you check it thoroughly, you check from whom you're buying from, how much the TV is, what are its features, all right? And if something went wrong, you ask yourself, can I get back my money? So you must have the same sense of due diligence, all right? Diligence when investing. You must ensure you are dealing with a regulated financial institution. As I said, check the website and check for whether the investor alert list has got the name. If so, walk away. Investor alert list provides a list of unregulated persons, all right, who, based on information received by MAS, may have been wrongly perceived as being licensed or regulated by MAS. So this list is not exhaustive and is based on what was known to MAS at the time of publication. So all the directories can be found at the MAS website homepage. So please spend a little bit of time before you start investing. All right, if somebody, RM or someone approaches you, first take your handphone, go into MAS site, all right, and look at the website. All these on our website. After this lecture, after this seminar, it will be put up. So come to MAS website, SIS website, you'll find this. All right? No need to worry about that you will miss out now. So what really I want to talk about is What must you do before you invest? First of all, what are my goals? The Chinese translation I didn't write, somebody wrote, so I don't know whether it's correct or not. All right, I hope it is correct. Since there's money sense is involved, it will be correct. What are my goals? What is my risk appetite? Okay, what are my goals? Why are you investing? What are my goals? Okay, as a responsible investor, first question is, what are your goals? Why are you investing? And what is your risk appetite? Can I lose all? Can I lose some? All right, if you have got a weak stomach and you get gastritis very easily, you have to pop pills, see doctor, don't invest. But the heavy risk, high risk investments, not for you. All right, so what do I expect to earn from these investments? How much is your expectation? I believe Warren Buffett used to say, when I reach 40%, I move. I don't wait for it to hit the roof. You know, many of you wait for it to go up and up. You ring up your friends, and your friends ring you up. The price is going up, stock is going up. You know, you say, how? And then suddenly it dropped. And then next thing you're seen at SIA's office. You always go for either sue him or get back my money because you didn't know when to get out. You didn't set a goal. And you also must watch market cyclical changes, factors affecting the market, the stock, the company, what is happening in the company. As I said earlier, don't be greedy. Be reasonable with your money. All right? Don't let it go out of the roof and fall outside somewhere else. You cannot get it. So how long you want to invest? All depends on circumstances, right? So these are questions you must ask. How much do you plan to invest? How much? How long? Why? See, how much loss can I take? Right? So you know, after the Lehman Brothers, SIS, together with MAS, developed 10 questions that you should be asking. In fact, the RM should be putting these 10 questions to you. It must be on the table of the bank manager. I went to a bank with my wife. We just wanted to put a small amount of money, you know, I think about 30,000 or so in a fixed deposit. As you know, in SIS, we don't make much money. I had a little bit of money. So we went to the bank manager. The bank manager said, I think considering your age, Mr. Gerald, you're now 70 years old, you buy a HDB flat. Then I saw on his table, he has turned around something, and I turned it around, it was the 10 questions. I said, why don't you let it face me? MAS wants you to ask these 10 questions. Why are you hiding it? He said, very leche, go through all this. You know, it's not for you, it's for others. So you must ask before you invest. What are you going to ask me? I got questions to ask you, all right? Go to the website, our website, you'll find the 10 questions. The MAS website has it. Some time ago, we did this after the Lehman Brothers, all right? Very interesting questions and very relevant and must be asked before you start. Now, most important thing, I don't know whether you all have seen, SIS together with Management University of Singapore, SMU, some years back, was it with Professor Jeremy? Yes, Professor Jeremy Goh is here. We worked out this very simple way of succeeding in investing, 3 dimensions of investing. All right? First of all, you need to know yourself. How many of you here know yourself? Please put up your hand. Only one knows himself. This is not very good. All of you must know yourself, right? What am I? Am I a very strong person, can take losses? Am I weak? Do I have a weak stomach? Okay, should spend more or should I save? Should I keep as deposits or should I invest? How much risk can I take? How much risk should I take? How long should I stay invested? This is knowing yourself. Ask these questions, please. Write it down in a small notebook. Keep it in your pocket. When you go and see a broker, take it out and ask, do I know myself? I know it's a joke, but it is really important. So the next thing is, having known yourself, you know what you are, next thing you must know the product. Very important. So what investments are available? You look up the market, all right, experts, and you see what is available. How safe are these investments? All right? Is it a scam or is it really an investment? How safe? Will I be able to get cash back when I need it, or will I not? How long does it take for the investment to return me in cash? Know the products. You know, when the Lehman mini bond issue came, I had a lot of people coming to see me, and there was a lady who came without appointment, and she insisted on with my staff and that she must see me or else she was going to my room. She was threatening. She was 67 years old. She has just given up teaching, and she got $560,000 in her bank account. And she went for a social. She is retired. She got $560,000 in the bank. Now she wants to go dancing. Because when she was teaching, she was very busy giving tuition, teaching in school, very heavy curriculum, no time to dance. Now she's going to enjoy herself. She met a young man who took her through the dance floor and took her through the bank account while she was dancing. And then she transferred the $560,000 to him because she was going to get 6% from Lehman Brothers. I tell you, when it happened, when Lehman Brothers mini bonds came, nobody knew what it was, including a CEO of a bank who went to claim from FIDREC, through FIDREC the money, because it was so difficult. The underlying risk, nobody understood. Yes. Everybody, it's very difficult. Everybody looks at MAS and say they shouldn't have done this. Now, no one thought what? No one ever expected what they were going to do, right? So this lady transferred the money. She got 6% first time. Then it happened, it collapsed. 6 times bigger than DBS Bank. If I tell you DBS Bank, you will all say, yes, I will invest. And in Singapore, a certain amount of money is guaranteed. But in America, this bank was so huge, all right, no one would ever think it will collapse. So it's reasonable to believe that she was investing in a very strong and safe bank. And what happened? Collapsed. They gave money to people who could not even couldn't even repay the mortgage. They didn't have a job. A lot of the black Americans got involved. And it happened. And what happened? She lost the money. She came. She wants me to get back the money. Fortunately, MAS had a policy of helping people if you are illiterate and if you have not invested and you're new. She had help, but she couldn't get back $560,000. Much of it was lost. So be careful. Don't be like her, okay? Keep, as earlier we heard, keep some money in the bank, and the rest, you're comfortable to lose all of it, then get on to investing. So, next thing, know the strategies. What are strategies? Okay, you can get all these on our website, SIS website, all right? No need to worry about copying. How much do I invest in each type of investments? How can I protect my investments? Do I invest long term? How can I protect my investments? You've got to join SIAS as a member. It's $1 a month. I have to do some advertisement. How many of you are members of SIAS here? Okay, 30 of you. How many of you are here? 600. Now, do I invest long term or adjust consistently in the short term? How often should I review my investments? So, many of you will invest and then you will forget about it. You don't review what's happening in the company. All right, why are they moving from their core business to something new? All right, why is the CEO leaving? Why is the CFO leaving? Ask. If you're not sure, then send an email to SIAS and we will try and help you. How do I take advantage of economic growth? for other countries. When should I take profit and cut losses? All right? Should I invest in the local markets only or global markets? Now, this one, you really, really have to do research. Should I borrow to invest? I'm very keen on restarting the equity research for you all. I know many of you have asked me, why is Singapore now lacking in independent research, equity research? I have made my request to the very esteemed and reputable gentleman here, to MAS. We are hoping that we'll get a nod. And would you all like equity research? Right. I'm sorry I have to do this. Right. So this one is something you must look at tonight. When you go back, please revisit this and memorize it. Know myself, know my product, know my strategies. Then you only have to join SIAS for protection. You are on your own, able to invest. So SIAS produced an investment guidebook. This is the e-version is on our website. Please go through it. So now we talk about rights of shareholders. Now, very often, we have published, of course, a guide on your rights, on your rights, understanding shareholders' rights. I think we did this with Wong Partnership, a law firm, and it is very clearly written in simple language for you to understand your rights. All right? So this is available also on our website, the e-version, so you can download it. So we can, this summary of rights of shareholders, rights in relation to general meetings. You have the right to attend a general meeting of a listed company. You have the right to speak at the general meeting, but speak means not defamatory language, not vulgar words, all right, not angry words, but you have the right to speak with decorum. The chairman can stop you or can remove you from the meeting. Many of them are very polite. So some of them shout at the chairman, and I appeal to you, if you are going to AGM, please conduct yourself with decorum, and then you get a reply. And then you have the right to vote. So you can also requisition general meeting if 2 or more shareholders holding 10% or more of the paid up capital, you can ask for an EOGM. All right, that's your right. So you have the right to be treated fairly and equitably. I have intervened in number of, together with my colleagues at SIS, number of instances where we had reports of shareholders not being treated equally. When you have right to ask questions, if you're asked to shut up or sit down, don't fight, complain to me. Okay, I will go and investigate. I will go to the company. I will write to the company. I will call up. And do you know now, companies come to us before even you come to us. All right, they know that we will take it up. Are you happy you have SIAS? Sorry? Yeah. Right, now, summary, let me do a summary of the rights of shareholders. Summary of rights. The right of return of capital is your right. You invest on an instrument, whether it's stock, you have a right to expect returns, and that value will be given to you. So the right to recover the original subscription price and the winding up of the company. But that is subject to whether the company has the money to give you. A fair and reasonable exit alternative, especially in delisting, should the company delist from SGX rules voted by only minority shareholders, again, if they have the funds, provided the company has the means to do so. Companies should actively engage their shareholders and put in place an investor relations policy. We repeatedly tell companies to have a good investor relations policy because they must effectively communicate with you. All right, you must have the right to seek information, and information must be given to you. If you don't, please complain to SIAS. So, where boards should establish and maintain regular dialogue with shareholders. Do you know, we have done about 50 dialogues within the last 18 months. 50 dialogues bringing the CEO, CFO, chairman, independent directors on board to meet you, to present, do presentation, and then for you to ask questions. All right? So nowhere in the world this happens, nowhere. Singapore, you're very lucky. You have the support of the SGX, MAS, and SIS does this. So you have the right to get your money back, but if you don't, you can ask for intervention by SIAS to see what happened. So the right to information is another right. You must receive information in a timely manner. All right, this is the disclosure rules, the listing rules. It is very well written down. There must be timely disclosure, and the disclosure must be sufficient. And you must receive financial statement and annual reports at least 14 days before AGM. I wish to ask the relevant authorities to make it 21 days. In Hong Kong, it's 21 days. We find 14 days is very, very cramped, not enough. And as you know, we post 3 questions to almost every company is supported. That is an initiative by SIAS, supported by SGX and MAS. And we send these 3 questions to all the companies. So why must you attend AGMs? You get to look at the directors and management in the eye, and you can ask them questions face to face. This would help you overall decision-making process. You might get to have lunch there too. We are very lucky, in Singapore, you can tapao as well. As long as you own a single share in a public listed company, you are entitled to attend the AGM. It is your right. They cannot stop you. You get to look at the directors and management in the eye and ask them questions face to face. This would help you overall decision-making process. You might get to have, but most importantly, you might have a chance to ask the directors questions in a smaller group where they might be able to explain to you the company's operations and directions in more detail compared to the time-constrained Q&A sessions. We do, in some companies, pre-AGM meetings. We selectively, SIS does it. We can't have all the shareholders. Some companies have 20,000 shareholders, all right? But we know who are the ones who are active at AGMs. We invite them to meet in our conference room or the company's conference room before the AGM, and we thrash out a lot of things. And then AGM, they're able to come to you and provide the answers to the questions we have raised in the closed-door meetings. SIAS cannot go to all the AGMs. There are 720 over companies listed, all right? We don't have the staff. We don't have the money. And investors don't join us as members. So today, as you go out, you please fill up a form. It's $1 a month, $12. Join SIAS because you want to protect your rights. Who is going to speak for you? You want to go and see a lawyer? You pay $500, $1,000 an hour. And if he takes up the matter, it's very expensive. So you need a voice. Singapore is fortunate to have SIAS. And recently, we brought in a lot of good people. Accountants, lawyers, brilliant lawyers, accountants, first-class honors in law and experience. We have one of them here, David Toh from Pricewaterhouse. We have Brand, We have an expert in digitalization and branding. Luke Lim has joined us. And we have these young people, these are millennials, The young people have to join us because I'm getting old. All right? I need to bring young people to serve you so that after me, there is a very effective SIAS. All right? A strong SIAS in place for you. Now, so questions to ask at AGM. This is your right? So many small investors, retail investors tell me their annual report is very difficult to navigate. So can you please tell me, this company, what to ask? So this was going on for some time. So I decided to introduce the 3 questions on annual reports. One on corporate governance, second one on companies' business strategies, and the third one on financial statements. 3 questions, each one having subsections, and companies respond. You must go to our website. If you hold, let's say, shares in Banyan Tree, you go to SIA's website and put 3 questions. You see Banyan Tree, you see what questions we have asked. You go to AGM, you ask them. Any question, any listed company. All right, this is done by brilliant minds, people who have got masters in business degrees, masters in finance. They get together and they are funded by SGX and MAS, SIS initiative, 3 questions, detailed questions at every annual general meeting. Did you all know about this? No. Now today I'll tell you, as soon as you go home, if you have 3 stocks, go into website of SIAS and look at what questions we have asked. All right? Now, OECD has told me that they are very, very surprised that in Asia, in Singapore, we have an organization like SIAS that is doing this. Singapore government is so supportive. MAS and SGX have been very supportive of SIAS. And many of you don't know what is happening. When you write me an email or call me about a company, next thing I'm talking to SGX. All right? They look into it seriously. So you have a voice, you have a representative in Singapore. And these 3 questions are so detailed and, in-depth questions. The companies are very happy because they said that we want guidance. We also want to know what the investors want to know of us. And, so what do you do when your investments do not turn out as intended? Something goes wrong. Investments do rise and investments do fall. All right? So this is the market risk that all of you must be aware of. The moment the guy in the White House, he tweets, market goes down. All right? Xi Jinping says something, market goes down or goes up. Politicians are quite responsible, for our woes sometimes, our problems. But don't get disturbed easily. Don't pick up the phone immediately and say, I want to check my stock. Wait. Do you know about your company? Do you know how strong the board is, the corporate governance is, how strong the business is, what are the prospects, what has the growth prospect, last 3 years, how did they perform? Going forward, what are the risks? Do you know? You've not come for SIS investment seminars. We have investment chapters, market reviews, stock picks, stock analysis. We do with SGX, company analysis. You must attend these things, these seminars, these programs. Then you will know, how your investment is faring. So, of course, SIS helps you. We are here for you. So, the aim of this man said, of course, the aim of a constitutional democracy is to safeguard the rights of the minority and avoid the tyranny of the majority. SGX and MAS are very serious about protecting the minority. That is why they support SIAS. All right? So, at the end of the day, when you go to an AGM, the tyranny of the majority works against you. You don't have enough votes to vote the majority shareholder. So, but at SIAS, we have developed a new form of activism, a responsible activism called in the boardroom and not the courtroom. Almost every other day, I have a corporate board members or senior managers come to see me. And they discuss problems which SIS is interested on your behalf. We don't have to go looking for them, they come looking for us. Now it's changed. Whether it's KrisEnergy, whether it's, it was China Aviation Oil, or whether it's HyFlux, the whole board, including Olivia Lam, comes to see me. All right? So we have developed a reputation of being responsible, credible, and strong. All right, so now what happened? Let me give you a few examples how we helped you. When China Aviation Oil collapsed, I got up early in the morning by a telephone call from Boston, Morning Star. Editor called me. He says, Mr. David, you gave China Aviation Oil award for being the best, IPO. I say, yes. Now, today they have collapsed. What are you going to say? So this American was trying to catch me. All right? So I said, tell me if any of your policemen have gone to jail. He said, heaps. There you are. Today's good person can be tomorrow's bad person. So that guy from China, who was the CEO of China Aviation Oil, he indulged in, gambling. He was shorting. He was thinking that prices will fall, and then it went up very high. He cost 600 million US loss to China Aviation Oil. Now, 20 over 1,000 shareholders, what do? We decided that we will work with the Chinese authorities to revive China Aviation Oil, because the finance ministry officials came to see me asking, will you sue us? If you want to sue us, we will close down and go somewhere else. China Aviation was the darling of the market. And because of this fellow's activity, he was not criminal, but he went against the market and he lost. He was, gambling. So I said, how can you sue a dead horse? We'll work together, provided you revive it, because there are 152 or 154 China-listed companies in Singapore. And investors will be quite disheartened and they may withdraw. So they did work together with SGX, SIS, and they found 2 new investors. And China Aviation Oil, after a year or so, came back to the market. It was dead. It is one case, like Jesus Christ, he rose again. Resuscitated. Yeah, so there was one case where we were able to work with, they said nobody should sue us. Yeah, we told our investors, shareholders, don't sue, but let CIAS work together with the Chinese government-owned company in China, the headquarters. And when we finished, Chinese government in Beijing invited me to go to Beijing with my wife. They said thank you. They hosted a dinner. They said they followed every press statement, every radio statement, every interview of me, and they said they liked what I said. Work together and not work against. Therefore, we will stay in Singapore. Any China Aviation investor here? You got frightened, right? All right. So Isetan is another one. Japanese. That was Chinese. Now we have Japanese. All right. Isetan minority shareholders were trying to get the tax, distribution, tax credit balance to be distributed. They went and convened an EOGM on their own without seeking CIAS help. They tried their best. They couldn't succeed because the majority shareholder voted against them. All right. So they failed to oust the independent directors, and they failed to get anything. I contacted the independent director at Lee Lawyers. He was on the board, and I said, let me see the Japanese directors. He brought them to my office, and he liked what I said. I said, I'm sorry, we are not about this. We are about getting something for the retirees. We want to work with you. He took out his handphone, he rang up Japan, and he said, this union chief is very reasonable. So we need to give him something. And within a week, $1.50 was distributed. All right? We do a lot of these things in the boardroom. Many of you don't know how we work. Now let's take Tiger Airways. Those who were at the initial IPO felt that the offer did not take into account their long stay in SIA. You know, they basically felt they have been let down, and they were protesting. So in November 2015, so as you know, SIA made a voluntary cash offer to buy out all the remaining shares it did not own from minority shareholders at 41 cents. Minority investors who had invested in the IPO paid $1.50. SIA claimed that Tiger Airways was loss-making and would benefit from being acquired and brought back into SIA to improve efficiencies and cost savings. Minority shareholders came to see SIAs to highlight their grievances and to issue on the low offer and the issue on the low offer price. SIAS noted that in 2013, SIA had bought out Temasek 7% stake in Tiger Airways at 67 cents. Minority shareholders also approved a whitewash waiver for SIA in 2013 to allow SIA to become controlling shareholder without making it a mandatory general offer. At that time, SIA bought perpetual convertible securities that were eventually converted to shares at 56.5% per share in 2014. So while a Tiger Airways shareholder who had held on to his IPO shares that was bought for $150 a share and subscribed to all 3 rights issues since IPO would have paid an average of 67 cents a share. The offer price was 39% lower than what long-term minority shareholders paid. This offer the minority felt was not reasonable. So they complained to us, they appealed to us, and we appealed to SIA to improve the offer in an open letter to the board to improve the offer and extend the deadline as the offer closed at the year-end holiday period. SIS eventually improved the offer to 45 cents and managed to get the required shareholder support to delist Tiger Airways from SGX. Now, of course, the biggest talk in town is about HyFlux. All right? So 50,000 investors are involved, which means 50,000 families are involved. And HyFlux debt restructuring is, as you know, the government amended the Companies Act, and now they allow companies that are going down to apply to court for a moratorium so that nobody can sue them and wind them up. Give them a chance to bring in new capital, a white knight, and allow them to, like China Aviation Oil, allow them to revive again, to start again. So we were called by the board of HyFlux to help facilitate the debt restructuring. And as you all know, we held a few town hall meetings, brought the white knight. The white knight later left to Indonesia. He has not come back. Now we have one from UAE, and he is also very, I don't know how to fathom him, but it's going on. The negotiations are going on between the board and the UAE investor. Hope something will get finalized soon. But there are also 2 other investors who are showing very strong interest in HyFlux. And terms, I understand, are better. So let's wait and see. We are kept informed, but sometimes we can't discuss the details because we are bound by confidentiality. So this is type. People say SIS is not tough enough. By going to AGMs, banging tables and kicking doors, we get nothing. The chairman will say, noted, thank you. Yeah, next question. But when we don't go and fight with them in AGMs, when we call them for a meeting, they come. They come happily because they don't want to be in the limelight and they don't want to be embarrassed at the meeting. And if I go, the press will be there. And next day, SIAS chief challenges XY company, and the XY company loses value. The share price goes down. Immediately people dump. So we bring them to the boardroom first, and we talk to them nicely, explain our complaints by shareholders, and they will tell what they're doing and how they can help. Almost in all cases, they have helped. All right? So it is an Asian culture. I don't want to lose face. You insult me, you make me lose face, I'm not going to give you anything. But if you work with me, if you save my face, I'm going to give you something. Okay? So what should you do as an investor? So monitor your investments closely. All right? Understand the company thoroughly. Do your homework before you invest. Read prospectus, annual reports, and regular announcements. Follow them. Have a portfolio and diversify your investments, as Mr. Ong said. Do not get attached to your investments. I know buying a stock is like, sometimes you have to flirt, like, flirting with a girl, and then you get to know her, then you visit the family, then you decide to marry, right? Why, when it comes to investment, you just do it like that? You don't spend time finding out, is this suitable for me or not? Just like that, getting married. Always remember, you want to buy a stock, it's like getting married. Many married people here will tell you, it's really a very, very hard decision, but you make a decision, you stick to it. I got married to my wife 45 years ago, still staying there. Have a portfolio and diversify your investments. Do not get too attached to your investments. This is something that I learned recently. When people get too attached, when they have to let go, they don't let go. I'm just told time's up. I am also finished. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me.